Hello, 8C Science students. We're looking today at Friday, December 18th. The main goal today was to get Tectonic Investigation 3 done. And so that's kind of what we walk through in class is, again, the main thing with these is to follow the directions. There's kind of four main steps in these four main parts. First part is to open up the GIS. When you open it up, it'll automatically have this let's see what the instructions call it. They call it the surface heat flow layer is turned on. So it'll look a little weird, but you can still see the black outlines of the continents with that. As you work into step two asks you to discover the relationship between heat flow and plate boundaries. Again, we talked about three kinds of plate boundaries yesterday. We either have divergent boundaries where they're moving apart, convergent boundaries where they're moving together, or else transform boundaries where they're just kind of sliding past each other. Kind of trying to figure out how does this heat flow thing relate to the kind of boundary we're looking at. And so walk you through some of those things. Again, as you're working through, follow the directions. Following the directions will help you get the information you need on the screen so that you can then answer the questions. And so when you're looking at that stuff, again, it tells you when to answer the questions. So follow the directions. Okay. Step three is about the relationship between surface heat flow and age of the ocean floor. So we are able to get this kind of color scale. Notice this is in millions of years. So there's a way of measuring how old is this. And then we kind of compare these two things. Now, because they're both color scales, they introduce this swipe tool. And again, it's really important in this area to follow the directions. First hour, I tried like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Click, click, click. I tried to do it, and I couldn't do it. So I had to come back and first hour, like read these directions and click, click, click on the screen as we were going. So please make sure you are following the directions in here. The other thing they get to in step three here is looking at elevation profile. So we've played with elevation profile tools before. Hopefully you can remember what that's like. Click once to start, double click to end it. Go explore, try some different elevation profiles, and then they ask you to do this one here. They've got investigation 3. So they've given you an elevation profile. And this is the elevation profile that shows up in your document. So as you're working through and answering the questions, they tell you to, this is that question. Now, if we had the piece of paper, we would just write down the ages in there. As it is, we have to kind of type it underneath, do your best to kind of line it up so that this section represents one age, rocks that are about the same age, about is it 10 million years old? Are these rocks 50 million years old? Are they 100 million years old? How old are the rocks in here? And each of these bands will correspond to a section of color on the age map. So make sure you get that in there and get this graphed. Please, when the graph is done, I guess just get the numbers in there so you know how old each of those sections are. Because they are going to correlate the depth of the ocean. That's what we're looking at. Zeros up here. This is sea level. And this is feet below sea level. Or meters below sea level, excuse me. To that age. So that's going to be an important piece to get in there. The last section then deals with hot spots and how surface heat is related to hot spots. And in your book, Chapter 5, Section 1, Chapter 5 is all about volcanoes. So in general, we talked about how there's kind of a line of volcanoes typically means that there is a plate boundary nearby. That's not the only place that volcanoes happen. Volcanoes also happen at these hot spots. And so this can happen in a few different places, and they kind of dig into the reason of why that is. But if you're looking for more information in your textbook, page 137 is going to have the best information here. Page 137 in your textbook has some good stuff on hotspots. You can, of course, look it up in the index or in the glossary, and that'll give you some more as well. Things to look at as you go through. Reminders about what's coming up. This is due on Monday. On Monday, we're going to go through this together in class. And then we're getting ready for a quiz on Tuesday. So quiz over kind of the first 3 parts on Tuesday. The last thing to talk about, science current events. Week 16 is going to be on Wednesday next week, and that'll take us through the end of the break. Other reminders from today. Today was the weather day for Track B, folks. So if you're on Track B, please make sure you're recording your weather observations. Also, continue looking for the moon. The moon's back out again. Afternoon, evening is going to be your best bet for seeing that. Kind of right around sunset. It's going to be real nice, kind of in the southwest-ish for the next few days. Right around sunset will be a good time and place to look for that. But again, look for it, make the observation, record it in your notebook. As always, if you have questions, please make sure you ask. Otherwise, have a great weekend, folks.